Alrighty. Good morning. This is Coach for Real, Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Kind of light today on the talking circuit, but I did notice, after the NBA tried to steal headlines from the Super Bowl, the impending build-up to the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, with all those massive trades that they've been making. Still, I don't think that the trade between the Lakers and the Mavericks make a whole lot of sense for the Mavericks. They are excited about it, and with the addition of AD, with the way he's playing, they have a chance to make a run in the playoffs. But the problem is, can they get by Oklahoma City? And the question is, can Oklahoma City get by the West? And as you know, that they don't seem to do well when it comes to the opening rounds of the playoffs. Ricky Riggs, how you doing, man? I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I noticed that Chip Kelly, he took the offensive coordinator job at Las Vegas, and he leaves Ohio State looking for somebody to fill that role. Chip had two stints that I know of in the NFL. He was a head coach of the Eagles and I believe the 49ers, and in both cases he didn't do that great. So he went back to college to try to repair his image, took the job at UCLA, seemed to be doing pretty decent there. Of course, not like he was doing at Oakland, but he did start to turn that team around somewhat. Then he made the decision that puzzled people. He left a head coaching job to become an offensive coordinator at another school. Well, that had a lot of people scratching their heads. Why would you leave a head coaching job to go to an offensive coordinator position? Well, as difficult as it may be, I think that's actually an easy decision. Are we talking win a ring or just be a winning team? Well, they're a good long way from winning a ring. I think he needs to establish himself that he can actually put together an offense that can win in the NFL. So initially I'm talking about just getting enough to win, and then when he get the pieces together, could he win with his offense? It's a question that has to be asked because, as great as he was at Oregon, they changed the rules a little bit to kind of slow him down with what he was doing there, so he had to adjust. In Ohio State, it's kind of like middle of the road. You didn't really know what he was going to do. That game against Michigan, that wasn't a great performance by the team all the way around. I think Michigan just got the number right now, and it didn't make a difference what he called. And if you're going to turn the ball over and miss kicks, then you're not going to beat anybody. So I guess you can't really blame him for that. But the offense looked a whole lot different when they played against Tennessee and the rest of the teams in the college playoffs. But so I'm asking, can he take his success and all the lumps that he's learned over the last 15 years back to the NFL and win in the NFL? But he goes back to Ohio State after turning down the head coaching position at UCLA to be an OC. A step down to most, but some people, they're better at being behind the scenes and just want to be able to do their job. And he's had his turn at being a head coach, so maybe that doesn't excite him anymore. All he wants to do is coach. And if you're a head coach, you have to be kind of like an overseer of the entire thing. But as a position coach, you got your hands on the situation and you get a chance to make some kind of a difference and prepare your players and be more involved individually than what a head coach would be, because again, he's going to be fractured, going in all different directions, trying to see what's going on with the entire team, not just one position. So I think it suits Kelly better to just deal strictly with the offense. He can be more effective that way. But there's some other coaching news out there. The Saints, they haven't hired a coach yet, and they're the last team to have to hire one. And it looks like that Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator, seems to be the guy for the job. He can't accept the job now because he still has a Super Bowl to play. And once that game is over with, you probably can expect the next day, if not that night, that the Eagles will name him, the Saints will name him as their new head coach. So that'll kill all the vacancies. Now, Mike McCarthy was a candidate for that particular position, but he couldn't come to any kind of decent talks with the Saints, and talks bogged down, and he just said, "I'm just not going to coach this year." And we find out that he's not with the Cowboys because the sticking point there was the length of salary. He wanted a 5-year, and the Cowboys wanted him for 3 years. So what they ended up doing, they split the difference with Schottenheimer and gave him a 4-year deal. And again, that's kind of a questionable hire. It would be worth it if Schottenheimer pans out, but I can imagine with McCarthy's track record of winning, he wanted more money on a yearly basis than what Schottenheimer is going to get. So I think they got him at a bargain basement price, and I think that's the reason why they're with Schottenheimer instead of McCarthy, because the Cowboys, they got cap problems and they got money going all over the place. So what they're trying to do is try to minimize spending and get into the best situation possible. So in their mind, they think it's best that they just take a coach that's already in the program and go from there, instead of bringing in, an outsider or retread like Mike McCarthy. I don't think they were doing necessarily bad with McCarthy. I just think that with the injuries and the situation they were in, they just couldn't do a whole lot about it. But I didn't see anything way wrong with the way he's coaching the team. Other coaching situations going on, going back to basketball a little bit. I saw the other night that John Calipari went back to Kentucky, and Kentucky was a 10.5-point favorite. But when I saw that, I didn't think that was a good line for Arkansas, regardless of what Arkansas had done up to that point. And I still don't know their record right now. I know Kentucky is banged up a little bit, but you expect them, or at least the fan base expect them to beat certain programs, especially a coach they just allowed to usher himself jointly out the door. So Calipari, he wanted to go into Kentucky. He had that marked on the schedule as soon as he found out what it was, and sure enough, they went right in there and knocked off Kentucky by 10, pulled away from them in the second half. I think it was like a 1-point game going into halftime, but after that, Arkansas just outplayed them down the stretch. Wherever this guy goes, he puts together good teams. So it's not a surprise to see Arkansas starting to get some traction. They were doing that a little bit before he got there, and I think he's going to get them all the way back to kind of like where they were with Nolan Richardson. I'm not calling that they're going to win a championship, but they're going to be somewhere making deep tournament runs as long as Calipari sticks with it. I don't think he's that old. I think he's probably about 63, 62, somewhere up in there. So I give him 4 or 5 years there before he decides, man, I don't want to do this no more. But he's going to make a whole lot of money in the meantime, and Arkansas is going to play some pretty good basketball in the interim. So that's pretty much it today. I didn't want to get back into that NBA trade colossus that they got going on. People in Dallas are in an uproar because they felt like Doncic was the future. If you build around that piece, you could have a program that can go continually deep into the playoffs and maybe win the finals once or twice. The problem that Dallas had with Doncic, they felt like he didn't do his all to get in shape and stay in shape, and whatever else is going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Zion Williams. He just don't want to get himself into shape, and just don't seem to be focused on the game. But that's where the comparison stops, because this guy is a better player than Zion, and I don't think you can build a team around Zion, because I just don't think he's the kind of player that's going to lead you to the charge over the hill. Doncic could be that player, but I think sometimes these teams put too much faith into what kind of shape a player appears to be in. You could be in the greatest shape and then not perform well, because that's not what you're used to performing at. And you can actually get yourself in too good a shape to make yourself ineffective. Maybe Doncic is one of those kind of players. Yeah, I don't know. But I know one thing, I would not have traded a decent player, a real good player like Doncic, 6 years younger than Davis, and somebody with an injury record like a Davis in this particular case. I think I would have rolled with Doncic. But the other sticking point that the Mavericks had, they didn't want to pay that man $345 million on a Supermax contract. And that's what he was going to get had he stuck around until July. But they didn't want to pay it. But I tell you, and this real quick, it might be to his advantage to get traded, because right now he's not eligible for the Supermax anymore. But I tell you what he is eligible for. All right, Ricky Ricks. Okay, Rick's gone. Young Gold, how you doing, man? I got a vote going on here with Chip Kelly. Can he be successful in Las Vegas? 67% says yes. I think he can be successful, but he's had to humble himself and adjust to the game. And now he's going to have to adjust back from the college to the pro game. And I think it's going to come down to, can he get a quarterback, stand in there and throw it and build around. That's what he's going to need. All right, great point. You can be perfectly fit and not perform. So if he's performing high level, his shape shouldn't matter. No, it shouldn't matter, but they don't want to pay this man $345 million. But the point I was about to make, he's going to be a free agent in 26. That's the point I was about to make. By him being a free agent in 26, the $345 million he would have been stuck with had he signed this year would have probably been less than what he's going to get, because they got this new TV contract that's supposed to make the salaries go through the roof. They're even talking about some people are going to be signing billion-dollar deals over like 10 years. Hell, I'll take that. $100 million a year kind of player. And if they're going to pay him $345 million now, and if he does well in L.A. with LeBron, I don't think he's going to stay in L.A. He's going to turn around and go sign with somebody else for a really big amount. So it's actually to his advantage not to have signed that Supermax deal. All right, what? Okay, I already signed that. How you doing, Bruce Lean? But I didn't have, I would just come on to talk about the coaching searches that's going on. Chip Kelly, and he just signed with the Raiders to be the OC. He's going to work with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a pretty good coach, and he makes good decisions on his personnel. So I think that Raiders are going to be a pretty good team. Does his contract align with the TV deal? Well, if he becomes a free agent, then whatever the market is paying at that time is going to be worth than the $345 million max contract he was going to get. So it's to his advantage to wait that out. All he has to do is stay healthy. Now, that's this year and next year. So at the end of next year, he's got it made. Should already be set, but that's really going to set it. All right, we will see who they get for quarterback. I saw a report today about Stephen A. Smith going off about which quarterback is better, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. He thinks Cam Ward is better. I agree with taking Ward over Sanders only because Ward has built himself up from zero all the way up to the top. He wasn't highly recruited out of high school. He was barely recruited at all. He was like no stars. Nobody wanted to take a chance on him. He ended up going to JUCO. Then he went to a small school. Then he went to Washington State. Now he ended up over here in Miami. And every time he goes somewhere different, he puts up good numbers. So he's put himself in that position. Now Sanders has also played well, but he's also been at the hem of his dad. Dad, everywhere the kid is going, Dad was right there. He's been his coach the whole time. That's why you heard the talk about Deion Furton to go to the NFL, because he wanted to coach his sons. Now, the possibility of that happening, now that they hired Pete Carroll, is very remote. And so it would have been best for him to stay where he is if he really wanted to coach. But I just see that the problem with Sanders is he's not as mobile as Ward. Ward can escape a lot better than Sanders, and I've seen a lot of college guys chase Sanders down, so the NFL guy is going to be on his case. But if Sanders can get a team that can protect him and he can stand in there and throw the ball, then he would be a good quarterback in the NFL. But if he goes in there and goes to a bad team that can't protect him, he's going to get beat up, and he might just lose that confidence he has, and that might make all the difference about how successful he'll be in the NFL. But the other quarterback that's moving up the chart right now is Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. He started out at USC, then he went to Ole Miss to be with Kiffin, and he's had a great career there. He put up better numbers than the Mannings. but they're saying that the system that he played under is quarterback friendly. Well, I don't quite understand that. I know you're saying about the reads and all. I guess the coach making all the reads adjustment for you. If it's not this, then that. But isn't all offenses like that? The coaches say, well, you throw, if this guy's not here, then you throw it there, not check it over here. It's a systematic process to what they do. So I don't understand how this could be so much more friendly than any other offense. He still has to stand in the pocket and throw the football. He's got to throw it to the right guy. I don't care what kind of offense you're running. And this guy has been playing pretty good football his entire college career. He probably would have stayed at USC had he not got hurt. So I don't understand what he be saying a lot of times, but this is what they say. All right, let's see. Bruce said, "Did you see Joe Milton's highlights?" No, I did not. Oh, you're talking about Joe Milton? I don't know him playing. He look good. I don't know if he can. Sure, be available by. I don't know, man. I'm thinking that these quarterbacks that you think are going to get drafted so high may not get drafted quite so high. I think the first quarterback off the board is probably going to be Ward. And if a lot of people hadn't soured on Sanders, Dart could have a possibility of jumping him. It all depends on what the individual teams like. But none of these guys are guaranteed to go in any particular spot. And if you just look back over the history of it, Aaron Rodgers is a perfect example. He slipped all the way down to 24. All right, it's just up if he takes it. Trade like a fifth round for Milton. He's not going to do much as a backup behind Drake May. Drake May is getting better. I know what you're talking about now, Milton. They may use him as trade bait, but who knows what these guys are going to do at this point. I usually don't get into the speculations about who's going to do what, but I just make a comment about what I think would happen if some things happen. But all the different scenarios that people talk about to keep the talk going, I don't want to do that. I just want to talk on the ones that are more likely to happen. All right, they could trade up to get Shador, but I don't know who they would give up. Maybe future picks. I don't see them trading Max Crosby. They're not going to trade Crosby. And if anyone give up a first for him either, you got Crosby on defense, and then you got the guy out of Georgia at tight end. He's pretty good, man. As long as he stays healthy, that's an offense you can build around that guy to make a good offense in the NFL. So the Raiders, they aren't far away. Pete Carroll's a good coach. He'll figure out what to do to get it going. So just keep an eye on him. I think that I know Bowers. I just can't call his name this second. It'll take me a while to get fired up. But I know Bowers. I call him Mr. Bowers. Just like I call that other guy from Georgia, Carter, for the Eagles. That's Mr. Carter. His name not Jalen. That's Mr. Carter. And you better have a plan for him or he's going to cause you a problem. I don't know, man. I think that Pete Carroll, I don't know how long he's going to stay. That's the only real question I have about him. You want to prove a point that, But you think about it, though, Bobby Bowden was old. He didn't really coach. He just set the plan down and went from there. I mean, it's not hard once you get everything established. So I figure it'd take Pete Carroll by the end of this year. He should have everything rolling, and he could just stay there as long as he wants because he's going to win. And at worst, it'll be 500. So I'll take that if I'm a team that's only been winning 2 or 3 games for the last several years. Then from there, eventually, you're going to end up with a good team somewhere else. So we'll see about that. But we got the game coming up this Sunday. I don't really have time to get into X's and O's. I forgot my board this morning, but I'm going to start drawing up the board to show you the X's and O's about what I think is going to happen this week. The big thing is, can the Eagles run the football? If the Eagles are able to run the football and control the clock, they stand a real good chance of beating the Chiefs. Right now, I think the Chiefs are like a 7.5 point favorite. I don't see that, but that's where they got them listed. But until next time, I appreciate you guys, Young Goat, Bruce Lean, Ricky Ricks, all you guys are chiming in with me. I don't see Blue Snowball this morning, but wherever you are in the world today, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, but unfortunately, I got to get out of here in 1 minute. I got to be off before it could cause me a problem later on, so I'll play the game. But anyway, I appreciate you guys chiming in. Like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be on, if not today, I'll be back on in the morning. and looking forward to talking to you guys. Have a good day. I'm out.